Hey there, how y'all doing this morning? Day to getting ready to get back on trail here this morning. I slept pretty well last night. It did get quite cold. It's like 30 right now. I think my little thermostat said. There's no wind, so it only feels like 30. Nothing froze overnight or anything like that. But it was chilly, so I'm getting a little bit of a later start. It's 7 now, and I haven't even begun to pack up yet. So hopefully I'll be on trail by 8. I have 2 possible endpoints for the day. One is about 14 miles out, and one's about 19 miles out. So Maryland was proving pretty cruisy yesterday, and I think I'm going to try for the 19, but I'll update you as the day goes along. Shared the campground last night with a young father and his son. The kid's probably 7 or 8 or something. Invited me over to their campfire, but frankly I was already too chilly and it was getting ready to rain. It did rain just a little bit, not a lot, just enough to wash the dirt off the outside of my Durston. And woke up and had a cup of coffee and took care of my morning business. Now, as you can see, I'm watching the sun come up over these mountains in the distance. Actually, more like over there. There's the porta potty. It would be nice if this campground had opened up these. I'm standing by their usual full-service bathrooms that have showers in them. I hear they're closed for the season. The gentleman camping here told me that comes here a lot, evidently. Told me that up the road there's a restaurant actually. I think I saw a note that it was closed also, so I'm not counting on breakfast there or anything. I'm going to pack up and head out, and I'll update you here, I don't know, next time I get to a stop. Oh, there is a utility sink around back that has potable water at it, which is open and running now. There's a sign on their brick bathrooms that says there's another water source about 100 meters north of here. So this is a really nice place to stop. I expect if you're through hiking and you come through here in the summertime, if it's a weekend, this place might be all kind of booked up. I don't think you can reserve, and you're supposed to be a backpacker to come in, but there's a parking lot just a little bit north. So I don't know how I think the term backpacker campground might cover a broad range of people who backpack. So if you're through hiking in the summertime and you think you're going to stop here, you should probably plan on getting here a little earlier in the day than you might otherwise. And I don't think there's a lot of official places that you can camp beyond here, and Maryland's kind of stickly about only camping in approved camping spots. So anyway, let's see. There's my Durston and there's my campmate's tent, and I'm filming over here so I don't wake them up too much this morning. And there's that lovely sunrise in the background. Boy, I tell you, there's just nothing quite like waking up in a chilly morning in the mountains to a sunrise. Good morning, y'all. Hope you're having as nice a morning as I am, and I'll see you down the trail. Just a little bit more of the sunrise coming through the trees here as I wake up in the mornings. I have to admit, I just cannot get enough of this sunrise in the mountains. So I'm just a half a mile north of the Dahlgren Campground, Backpackers Campground. Thank you, the state of Maryland. Very nice little campground for backpackers. Such a privilege to have an indoor porta potty that's fully surrounded, and a picnic table by my campsite, and a gravel pad that's nice and level, and a potable water tap. So thanks for that, the state of Maryland and the taxpayers of Maryland. Now I'm getting ready to head up this way, but I am getting a late start on it today, so it'll either be 14 or it'll be 19 depending on how things go. But It's 8:30 already, and I'm just now getting on trail. Came across this pretty church here at Dahlgren, with the sun rising behind it. And then as the cars go by in the distance, you can hear. A gentleman told me this is US 40, the original highway across America. I think this is the same road that runs through Indianapolis, where I was raised. And then over here there's a little restaurant, which I hear from the gentleman. It was a very, very nice little restaurant. I didn't walk up here last night, but for future hikers, might be a good place. If you stop at Dahlgren, it's only like a couple 100 feet up the road to this little restaurant. So with that, I'm going to head on up the trail, hiking into the sunrise again this morning. This is Data, back on trail. So at Washington Monument State Park here in Maryland, there are several outbuildings. There's a potable water source here, or at least it's a groundwater source. Me, I'd filter it myself, but from the looks of it, since it's a state park, you may not need to. And there's a couple little outbuildings that are part of a visitor center. Over that direction, there are some picnic tables. There's a visitor center for the Washington Monument, the original one. Just that direction. There are some privies, indoor kind of plumbed things, I think, but they're closed in the off season. So they have a, like at the other one, they have a very nice portalet. It's very clean, well taken care of. And now I'm heading up the hill. I've got a lady coming jogging, so I don't need to film her. Good morning. There are several shelters in the area. This is called Mount Vernon. A little fireplace, a couple of picnic tables. There are a couple of others over by the visitor center. Little educational signs along the way. I like how it says milestones in the life of Washington. Doesn't even have to say which Washington. We all know who that was. First president of the United States himself, George Washington. I hiked with a gentleman this morning for a while. Some more information about Mr. Washington. He was a former town manager for one of the towns around here, and now he works in some zoning capacity at one of the other towns. He's very familiar with this area. Goes by the trail named Aquaman. He and some buddies are section hiking it. I had forgotten that Mr. Washington was a member of the Virginia House of Burgesses. There's an old-fashioned term we don't hear a lot in politics these days, the Burgesses. I am a fan of historical markers that educate me. Appointed commander-in-chief in 1775. Loses New York to the British. The Declaration signed. British occupy Philadelphia. Spends the winter at Valley Forge, 1777. British surrender at Yorktown, 1781, 1783. The British recognize American independence. Woohoo! The Constitution was ratified. Mr. Washington becomes President Washington. 1789 was a good year.
1797, leaves the presidency. 1799, he dies in Mount Vernon. So this right here is the original Washington Monument. Monument to the first president of these United States of America. It's not huge like the one in DC, but it is spectacularly placed, overlooking the Maryland countryside. Well, there's a viewpoint for you. Here's a better story of the history of this monument. Oh, well, hello from my 10:30 in the morning break. I'm 2 hours in on the day, and I have gone 3.2 miles in 2 hours, which was a pretty good pace my first week, but slower than I've been going this week, at least yesterday. But there's a reason I was going slower today. I met a section hiker. He's working on a multi-year section hike with some friends from Tennessee. His trail name is Aquaman, and he's actually local to the area here in central Maryland, and very familiar with this portion of the trail. So the trail was very cruisy, but he and I struck up a nice conversation. He's hiked a lot more of the AT than I have over the past, I guess, I don't know, 6, 7, 10 years, something like that, with his friends. They're going to be back out in May, he said, somewhere in Pennsylvania, picking up where they left off. And so maybe we'll cross paths even. Aquaman, I'd like that. Given what you've told me about your hiking buddies, they seem like an interesting crew to maybe spend a little time on trail with. But most importantly, dude, thank you very much, Aquaman, for all of the tips on this part of the trail. It's not a very technical part of the trail. I should be able to make a lot of good time. But as importantly, as it gets cruisier, I'm also evidently, because it's a Sunday, going to come up on a big parking area where there will be a ton of weekend day hikers. So it is 11:30 now. I've come a little over 5 miles in 3 hours, so my pace has quickened a little bit. Path is pretty easy coming through this part. Now I'm coming across a pedestrian bridge that runs over I-70. Sure glad I don't have to run across this one. Here comes the traffic at me. Even got little white blazes on it, in case you didn't know where you were. So on the last section, I ran across I met on the last section a leadership team member from the PATC, trail boss kind of a fella. We had a nice long conversation about what I had seen in trail conditions, and I asked for his advice on stuff. So that was also helpful. He had all of his official PATC gear and badging, and he was running a couple of phones. And I don't know if he was videoing live or just inspecting trail or what, but we had a nice talk. So I'm reminded that on the weekend, just like when Mrs. Data and I go out to state parks and camp and do car camping and hiking, a lot more people out in a state park area on a weekend. And, you know, they tend to be outdoorsy folks, so you end up in long, interesting conversations. And if I want to make, I mean, I'll make the 14-mile goal for the day no matter what, I think, at this point, since I'm 5 miles in and it's only 11:30. But I don't know that I'll make the one that's 19 or 18.8 or whatever it is, unless my pace picks up a little bit. Which Aquaman suggested that as I come across this next section, there's plenty of opportunity for the pace to pick up, but, you know, we'll see. Anyway. So, data no longer on trail. About 1 o'clock today, after my midday break, I tripped on a piece of granite and went face first into the ground. As folks familiar with the AT know, that there is no soft place to land when you fall on the AT. So I split my front lip wide open, and I won't zoom in on that or share you too much detail, but let's just say I spent a couple hours in the ER in Hagerstown, Virginia today, getting 9 stitches put in my lip. And now I'm going to drive home a week early and regroup and do some more planning and try to figure out what's next. I am a little bit demoralized, as you might imagine, but I just had some of the best days on trail I had the whole 3 weeks, including 19 miles yesterday. So I just got in too big a hurry and wasn't watching my foot placement well enough. I would say Northern Maryland gets rockier than what I expected. The rocks don't start in Pennsylvania; they start in Northern Maryland, and I knew that, but I didn't fully account for that. I got very lucky. There was a day hiker coming southbound with his dog, who's very familiar with the area. His name's John. John just saved my life, literally. I was, spitting blood and stuff. It was a mess. And John got me down the mountain to his car at the shortest way off. And he and his dog, Sadie, escorted me to the ER. And then I got treated there and gave John a call. And he came and picked me up, took me to get medications at the Walgreens for the antibiotics. And then took me over here to my hotel. So thank you very, very much, John. I mean, I would say I've always thought that one of the best parts of being on the trail were the people that you meet, the friendships, the advice, all that. I hadn't really stopped to think about the other part of it, that if you get hurt on trail, if you need real help, and today I needed real help, there will be people there to help you too. So I was, thankful. And that if you've been watching my videos, I grew up Quaker. And I have to say that face planting into the side of the mountain and spitting up blood right in front of somebody who knows where the nearest hospital is and is a good, helpful person, that is the hand of God right there. Because I couldn't have gotten to the ER any faster. I didn't even have to figure anything out. John knew right what to do. And, down the hill we went very carefully and to his car and to the hospital. And I'm on antibiotics, and Mrs. Data has been informed, and she's okay with all of this. But this is Data coming off trail for a minute to heal, and might even need some plastic surgery done on this ugly mug of mine. I don't know. We'll see when I get back to town. But was a good 3 weeks, and I don't know what I'm going to do next. I'll try to post something up here on this channel when I make some decisions about what to do next.